So cleaning this tank absolutely has to be done in the kitchen. I know it's best to clean it outside or using a sink that you don't use for food or personal care. But the truth of the matter is, if you do it right, it can be done safely. And if you don't have another place where you can clean it, or if it's too heavy to carry outside, or you have any other personal reason for why you need to do it in your kitchen or bathroom, let me show you how to do it safely. Everything that I use for the tank, for the turtle, is only for the tank or the turtle. I start with preparing some lukewarm water in Shelter's transfer bowl. Then I start filling the sink with really hot water, a little bit of dish detergent, and a little aquarium cleaner. And then I put all of the removable pieces into that liquid concoction and just let it soak. One of the things that I love about this terrarium is that I can take the top off and have all of the beads and shells and all of the things still in that top portion, and all of the water is in the bottom portion. I always protect the plug by covering it in paper towels and putting it in a Ziploc bag just to prevent the end from getting wet. And then I hose that top piece down as well as possible, trying to make sure that I have it over the sink so that my counter and floor isn't getting soaking wet and I'm not making the mess of all messes. And again, I'm using the hottest water in the world. I make sure that all of my food related items are out of the way. And yeah, I use a little bit of dish detergent and Shelter sponge to thoroughly clean the inside of that top part. Since this was done recently, I don't need to take all of the beads, shells, and rocks out of the terrarium. I can just kind of scrub over them. If it needed a more thorough deep cleaning, I would literally pour them all into the sink with the strainer in it and let them soak just like I did the other large removable pieces. I thoroughly scrub this thing though, inside and out. And I thoroughly rinse it to make sure that I got all of the soap out, all of the sludge out, and it's going to be safe for Shelter to return to it. Because it's not a deep cleaning, I'm not replacing those filter sponges, I'm just rinsing and cleaning them. And now it's time for the big boy. Literally dumping all of that water, dirt, and any loose shells, beads, and rocks into the sink, thoroughly rinsing that water reservoir, and again using a little bit of Dawn and Shelter's personal sponge to clean that bottom out thoroughly. I make sure that I really get in there, because the truth of the matter is, if that part isn't as clean as possible, the new water is going to get dirty even faster. Instead of throwing away the rocks, pebbles, and shells that went down into that bottom reservoir, I actually take the time to clean them so that they can be returned to the terrarium as well. And then it's time to get to scrubbing those large removable pieces. They are always going to be slimy. Ugh. And you know that they're clean when they're not slimy anymore. I wash them good, rinse them good, and sit them to the side to dry. To clean those pump pieces, I scrub the heck out of them. I run that hot water through every single hole that there is in it until I see that the water is running through easily, which means that it's not clogged anymore and I've gotten rid of all of the debris. Sometimes that requires multiple washes and rinses. And then I thoroughly scrub all of the smaller pieces and make sure that I got all the shells, beads, and rocks out of the side of the sink that's going to go down to the garbage disposal, because I certainly don't want to clog that thing up. And then it's time to put this whole little world back together again. But first, disinfecting. I add everything. The sponges, the strainer, the drain plug, any and everything that was near the sink, to a tub of extremely hot water mixed with vinegar, thoroughly clean it and rinse it. And I also use lemon to thoroughly disinfect the entire sink. Now, you can also bleach your entire sink and sink area, but I don't use liquid bleach. Don't get me wrong, I love a good chemical, but I really do prefer the natural way when it comes to my food areas. And now it's time to go ahead and begin putting that terrarium back together again. I use a clean pitcher that has water and the water conditioner, return the filter sponges, Put the top portion back on it and then add enough water to ensure that it does not go above the fill line. Return all of the large items, the greenery and the pump pieces. Once the water is at the appropriate level, I add a time release water conditioner, and then it's time to return Shelter back to his home. He always gets a special treat for being so patient, and I just watch to make sure that he's behaving normally, which typically means the water temperature is good and he isn't traumatized. He'll get a water change in a week and a deep cleaning in 2.